my dudes. This is Curtis with Grand Patina, and some of you guys have seen this guy behind the camera or around our shots. His name is Paul, and he's our resident DJ / art director. And this is a fun episode for us. I think both you and I have missed traveling quite a bit, and we're just kind of dusting off our cameras that we keep passing by because we haven't been able to travel very much and go on the hunt for watches. But we started talking about the essentials, right? Like, what are your go-to things that you throw in your bag or throw in your luggage when you go off on a trip to travel or for vacation or even just to hunt for watches? And you've obviously been on a few adventures with me. So I thought it would be kind of cool, not necessarily do a top 10 list, but let's just freeball and kind of see what you pull out, what I pull out, and see if any of those things match.
Sounds good.
So, before we get into what's in our luggage or what's in our packs, I have to say that I don't travel anywhere unless I have my Rimowa luggage. And this is not a plug for LVMH or Rimowa. Quite frankly, I'm very partial to the pre-LVMH Rimowa luggages. And the reason why I think I love these things, even though I think back in the day when we were growing up, a luggage just seems so utilitarian. There's no passion into it, right?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna see if I can throw this on the table. But this is my first Rimowa, and I'll tell you kind of what I love about it and what I don't love about it, and what makes it different from the new stuff that is coming out. This is a 32-liter wide cabin. They don't call that anymore. I think they call it a cabin plus. But this is what I would normally take if I'm going out somewhere for 3 or 4 days. Anything longer than that, I'm typically taking my luggage. I'm taking the big trunk, and if it's longer than a week and a half, I'm taking both. But one thing about Rimowa, and I don't think I really understood it until I threw a bunch of stuff into one and borrowed one for a trip, was that the way this thing glides effortlessly through the terminal, it's amazing. It's such a pleasure because I think we've all been there at one point, being a broke college kid, dealing with a 4-wheel luggage or 2-wheel luggage that has one
wobbly
screwed up wheel, one wobbly wheel. And I mentioned this to you the other day. I have a bit of Schadenfreude, right? This German word really means finding pleasure in other people's misery. And it's more tongue in cheek. It's not oh, someone got hit by a car. I feel like it's, if I'm gliding through security and I'm, have everything I'm supposed to have out, my laptop, etc., I'm checked in, it's finding the little pleasures of, the guy with 3 babies on his arms and check in a cat, and then at the end of it, his luggage is all fucked up from his travels. I just smile, right? And it's not I'm really serious, I'm taking massive pleasure in it, but it's funny to me. So everything I have that goes on my travels, typically I take this case. I've seen the newer stuff that people are using. They're putting covers on it. They're putting, the stickers that they bought in the store. And I just feel like that takes a little bit away from it, because the joy of this was putting your stickers that you acquire or tags, etc. In this case, this was my boat ticket to Nice.
Which one covered one of your first dents on there?
It covered one of my first dents. And so this is the thing, if someone OCD like me, right? Your first dent, you're so distraught. I have this one section here, and I even wrote it in a Sharpie. I wrote NYC, and I drew a little arrow here because this is my first dent. Mm-hmm. And I took it and I was like, oh man, it's this shiny metal luggage. But then it's kind of our attitude with watches. It's not necessarily the fresh refinished case, or it's I sometimes love seeing metal patina over time take its dents. There's a watch dealer in San Francisco that loves to, every time I visit his shop, he takes a bat and just kind of dings my stupid luggage. I think you know who it is. It's not Tim Bender. But yeah, no, I love the wear of this, and even if you're not going anywhere exciting, right? Even let's say it's a wedding you don't want to go to. You're traveling to I don't know. I don't want to offend anyone in Podunk Town, Ohio. But if I'm going somewhere that's less than exciting and for business or whatever, not hunting watches, this is still such a joy to take out and pull around and take with you because you know it's going to be reliable. You know your contents are going to be safe. But yeah, that's what I love about it. The one advice that I would say, if you're looking at a new Rimowa luggage, or even a used one, right, which I think is perfectly acceptable, you don't want the narrow Rimowa cabin. And the reason for that is because it has smaller wheels, which don't roll as well as
stuck in the cracks, the bumps get,
It's the small
slows
things
you
that you
down.
don't think about it because you're thinking like, well, I'm not going to pack that much. You always pack way more than you think you are, or you underpack, and like me, you buy, you like to buy stuff from where you travel and you have space to throw it in. The other thing is, and I don't mean for this to be a luggage segment, but this is like, when I travel, this is my baby.
That's the core thing, yeah.
Yeah, the handle on anything less than the wide is really crappy, even on the old ones. It's not as stiff. There's a lot of play and a lot of flex. So you definitely, that's why I'm such an advocate for the wide. Now, technically, the wide travels domestically fine. It's IATA certified, but if you take it on international travel, especially if you go on smaller planes, this is not gonna fit above your cabin.
Yeah.
But don't be afraid to toss this and check this in. I mean, it's if you have to think about it and you have to worry about like, oh, they might screw it up, you shouldn't be taking this with you. The last thing I really, really despise about this new Rimowa launch is that they got rid of the secondary bag tag. And now it's just a simple Rimowa tag without any functionality to it. I love this because let's say you're last minute, you're at duty free, you want to grab some whiskey or whatever. You can hang the bag off here, and the weight of it just secures it here.
That's cool.
So it's just another small little thing that doesn't exist on the new stuff, which is why I think we like the old stuff.
Yeah.
The last thing I have is, not last thing, but last vessel I love. I always have a carry-on or something I check in, but I always have a carry-on like this. It's just a plain backpack, nothing fancy, but I have a sleeve inside. This is really the essential. It's not the backpack. It's got a million different backpacks, but I love this thing. This is from Dispatch in San Francisco, and I just toss whatever cameras, watches, or whatever, and this slips into anything. So, if you're out on the streets and you're looking for a guy with a green backpack,
Gotta switch it up, man.
yeah, I gotta switch it up. I wear a mustache. I fake mustache as I go through the streets. But I've talked for a little bit. What's one of your essentials? Like, what's the one thing that you reach for?
Well, first and foremost, cameras, because that's what I do. I shoot video, and my first thing is actually mounted on the tripod.
So you
rolling
can't
right
show
now.
it.
So I can't show it, but I also bring my sidearm, which is an old film camera.
Now, why would you want to
Contax
bring a
T2.
film camera?
Because it takes you away from being on your phone. I mean, when you're traveling, most of the time you're so caught up trying to capture everything that you forget where you are and you're not present.
Yeah.
This thing, you have to pause, frame your shot, take your time, take a breath, take a beat.
And what camera is this specifically?
The Contax T2.
Pocketable.
Pocketable, super sharp lens. That's the key thing.
It's a Zeiss, right?
Yes.
Zeiss lens.
Super fast. You can go into manual override, so.
And you have some Cinestill 800T.
Yeah, which I got from you, actually. I was trying to get my hands on one of those rolls for a while, but you just happen to have one in your fridge.
Shout out to Cinestill.
Yeah.
I love this because, it's the same reason why someone would prefer to use, it's why we love vintage watches, right? It's another reason not to pick up your phone and see what time it is, right?
Yeah.
This, to me, is you're entirely focused on photography. You're in the moment. You're not chimping, right? You're not like pulling it up
Checking
again.
every single shot.
Yeah. What's done is done.
Yes.
What's happened has happened. And you're going to have to wait. I love that process. You're going to have to wait.
Yeah, and there's something about once you feel that shutter physically shut, that's it. You move on. You're not going to find out what's going to happen until you get it all developed.
It's almost a fun way to relive that trip, right? Because it's fresh. It's fresh as soon as it's developed and you're reviewing the negatives or you're looking at the scans. It's a fresh set of eyes to review it. I do remember, the saying is, the best camera is the one you have on you.
Yes.
And oftentimes I'm juggling like croissants and coffee or whatever. I remember walking down the street in Kyoto, and I was like, oh my God, sun is perfect. I'm like, take the shot. And you're like, what shot? You're like, oh, you see it. And I think you snapped on your iPhone. Maybe we can throw it up in
I'll
this
throw it
video.
up on the screen. Yeah.
But it was just like iconic like scene. And so I'm all about having, the accessible camera. Even if it is your camera phone sometimes. I mean, everyone has a camera phone. But this is just like, this is a pure joy to use. And I know that I think Kylie Jenner made this very, very expensive and popular over the years, but there's a reason why it's so good.
Yeah, definitely.
So you have that. I challenge you with this is my favorite camera of all time.
Okay.
And it's a Leica Q, not a Q2. And I'm actually going to bring out the other one as well. It's almost the antithesis of the T2. It's a Nikon F100. It's a behemoth of a camera, right? But these camera bodies are like $100 on eBay. Way over-engineered, so much tech involved. It's a film camera, obviously. Lenses still use anything that Nikon, I think FE mount or whatever. I have a 50 on there because that's my preferred focal length.
Yeah, it's great.
So I have that as my 50. And then on my Leica Q, it's a native 28 fixed lens down to 1.7. And this is I've bought and sold this camera 2 times, and I keep coming back to it because I think I don't need it. But when I don't have this and I have my Leica SL or I have my Fujifilm, I always pack 2 lenses because I'm like, what if I need that telephoto shot? What if I need that wide angle in that temple, right? This has such a cool feature about it is that you can switch into the macro ring, and if you look close, you can see the distance scale actually changes.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
It's one of those like analog, even though this is a digital camera, one of those little small joys.
It's like a tactical feel to it.
Yeah, I've got it on my Koof strap, which I love. That slips into any pack that I'm out for the day. And even if I'm not taking a backpack, I'm just throwing this across my shoulders. The other thing that most people don't realize is that you don't need 48 or 100 or 1,000 megapixels. Like this is on a full frame sensor and the ability to, well, this might be a heresy, but this is my favorite manual focusing lens. The fact that I can just depress this little knob, and as I raise it up to my eye, it automatically punches in, magnifies. I have focus peaking on here.
Nice.
And it's some of my best photographs have come from this camera. So I don't think this one will ever leave the stable again.
Yeah.
But I've said that before. So
yeah, it's all about the most effortless way to capture what you see.
absolutely. And different size things, like this is what I love about, you can easily throw this in a studio environment and it'll last all day. There's nothing else you would need, but obviously very heavy,
Yes.
very sizable,
Built like a
maybe
tank.
not as sizable as a F4 or F5 Nikon, but 90% of what you need is already right there.
Very cool.
That might have been the most exciting thing that we brought with us, but I think there's a few other things. And with any hunt, for me, it's tools, right? So, spring bars, right? I used to take this. This is a Bergeon. I don't know which version it is. It's a 315, and this thing always poked holes in my shirt.
Yes, or your bags.
Yeah. So this is what I've settled on, and this is a Sea Dweller spring bar tool. It's reference 2100. I think these will probably go up in price now, but you have a flathead and a spring bar tool to remove a link or to remove the bracelet, all of which are very important if you're hunting for watches. You need to look at the serial number, but this will slip into a wallet, slip into your pocket. They're not very cheap. I mean, nothing Rolex is cheap, but this is essential. And so, quite honestly, this is gone. I have then my black light, especially if you're looking for vintage watches, definitely want to see the UV reaction. What else do I have tool-wise? I've got my anger ball. No, This is a case back opener, and it's just, I would like to take a proper case back tool, but you never know exactly what watch you're going to pick up. If I'm picking up a Speedmaster, the friction on this and the ability to turn on any case back is essential.
For sure.
And if I can find it, you always need a loop. Any one will do. I tend to lose a lot of my tools, so I wouldn't invest into anything super expensive, but any bit helps. I think this is at 10x power.
Okay, cool.
What do you got?
Well, for me, as shooting video, doing photographs and all that, it's essential to have data storage. I happen to have a interesting USB drive from Undercover Japan, but I saw it. It lights up red when you plug it in. I had to have it. I use it for dumping photos, dumping video footage, and at night, if I'm playing somewhere, DJing, I have all my jams on there. Just plug it in, CDJs, good to go.
Do you, when you pull out, do you like hiss? Like this is like.
It gets hot, yeah.
This is probably the coolest USB thumb drive I've ever seen, but that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
I probably would have done it upside down, but that's just me. Audio. You mentioned audio. Two things I take with me, and I think once you've been on the plane with screaming kids and screaming babies, like it's essential. So I have two sets of headphones. One of which, if I'm going for a super long plane ride, I'm going to take the overhead. This is the Sony WHX 1000 M3 something. I don't know. Came out a couple years ago. You can find them for like $150, $200, but super good noise canceling. It does get a little bit hot from time to time, and this is why I got these. I was going to go with the Apple iPod Pros, but my regular iPods broke after a year, and just didn't want to go down that path again. So I picked up the earbud version of this. This is also noise canceling, and this is actually nice because I'm a side sleeper, so if I'm on a plane and I have this on, I can only just lean my head back.
Yeah.
With these, I can actually
Get comfortable.
Get into a pillow. Try to drown out whatever noise there is, or even just the plane noise is horrendous.
Very cool.
I remember I was on a plane ride with my girlfriend, and family brings their 4 kids into business class, and we're taking off, I think, from LAX to Istanbul. And we look over at her, she pops a Xanax and lights out for her, and her kids are like all running around. I look over at Teresa, and I'm just like, I feel bad, but should have came prepared. She should have watched this video. That's what she should have done.
True. Well, now she'll know.
What do you got?
I also have some headphones,
Okay.
but for me, the most important factor is durability.
Okay.
Just being on the field, and you never know what you're gonna run into. And these,
You might run into a set of CD DJs that you need to.
Yeah, that's true, and that's why I got these, because there is a cord, so you can plug them into a mixer, any mixer. There's an adapter for this, but you can also unplug them and turn on the Bluetooth. When you're on the plane or just walking around the city, cordless. And they're great. These have some of the biggest drivers in them.
Okay.
So in terms of enjoyable listening,
Yeah.
like there's Beats, but there's also this, which I think is a little more pure.
Yeah.
It's not so artificial.
Beats are the
The boost
Hublot
on
of
it.
watches, just for headphones. But just saying.
Yeah, so I mean, Audio-Technica, these are great.
Awesome. Well, if we're listening to tunes, we definitely have to smell nice, right?
That's true.
Here's my scent. Le Labo. It's not Santal. Definitely not Santal. It's a Patchouli 24.
Okay.
And I like it because it's a heavier scent, more musky. I mean, feel free to smell if you like. But that's my.
That's good.
I always feel self-conscious. Not that I smell. I don't think I smell, but you get a little boost of confidence as you go out.
Yeah, no, their stores are super awesome. And looks here, it says Newport. Is this where it was made?
Yeah, each one is made, so none of them are bottled. Each one is hand done at the store and mixed on site. So this was mixed by our friend Seth over at the Lido Island location in Orange County. Go see him if you need to smell nice. And he's French, so he knows his perfumes,
Oh,
right?
for sure, definitely. I also have a scent. Mine's a little more off the shelf, but
Old Spice?
Saint Laurent. I would go Drakkar Noir if I was gonna do a throwback like that.
Okay.
But you know, just YSL. It's a nice balance of masculine and feminine. You know, so it's not too overpowering.
Oh, it's nice.
Yeah,
Very classy. Very, very Paul.
I try.
Okay, so since if we're wearing this and we're going out on the night of the town, right? Excedrin.
I thought it was something else. Okay.
No.
Cool.
This is
right.
okay. So this is not even Excedrin. This is the
Generic?
like Excedrin.
Nice.
But it has caffeine. It's man, this thing. I take it before I drink. I take it one in the morning, and I'm still in pain because of my age. But if you have a migraine, this is what you need.
That's the David Bowie elixir, isn't it?
It's Josh and David Bowie elixir. Like, yeah, Dave. I think Josh. Some of you guys may know him from our collector series, but yeah, that guy. That guy had like not a morning after pill, but it's one of those like headache pills, or like anti hangover pills. And the guy didn't even have the decency to bring some for us. And he's like, oh yeah, I feel great. What else you got? What else is in the bag that is like essential?
For me, it's just, this is more of a personal thing, but I like starting the day off by just being ready for the day, and this is just a little bit of hair product.
This is hair regrowth.
Yeah, exactly.
Serum?
Exactly. Just gotta.
Want to give them a shout? Tip
Gotta
Top.
massage it in there in the morning.
Tip Top pomade.
But it,
Water-based.
yes, any pomade works water-based just because it washes out easily. But yeah, just to keep the hair under control.
Probably people are wondering like what watches we are going to take with us, and the one thing about going on a lot of our trips is I'm not taking a lot of watches. If anything, sometimes I don't even take a watch because the whole point of going on that trip is to try to get a watch or try to find something. But the go-to watch for me is always going to be a GMT, especially when I travel. I just love being able to have like a 24-hour hand, and I mean, this looks good in a suit, in jeans, and pajamas, whatever.
For sure, yeah.
Even your birthday suit. Do you take a watch?
I have the Speedy that I recently got from the team here, and to commemorate a very special occasion. But I love this thing. It's a reduced Speedy, so a little more minimal, a little bit smaller. It fits on the wrist for daily stuff a little bit easier, and the fact that it has a chronograph is great for when we're doing interviews or anything like that. I just start it and just let it roll.
You have something to like
keep track,
automatically-
yeah, for sure, just to make sure everything's rolling, everything is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into some hardware. Okay. My go-to, what I've been trying to get away from is a laptop. And especially just because I don't like to power on, power off, and battery life is a big deal for me. So for me, it's an iPad Pro. This is the 2019 model. So it's not the newest model, I think, that was just launched. Maybe it's a 2018. I don't know. But any iPad, but specifically, especially when I'm editing photos and dumping cards and whatnot, I had this. It's kind of an all-in-one, iPad.
Card reader.
Yeah, it's like a Thunderbolt or USB-C, capture also. It's got HDMI, SD card, but to be honest, this thing is fucking trash. Like, it's as slow as SD upload speeds, whatever. Like, don't do an all-in-one.
Okay.
Remember those like late night infomercials where like it slices and dices? Like, no, just get one thing that slices perfectly. And that's what this pro-grade USB card reader is for. It's amazing. I obviously got a different USB-C plug for it, but this thing is magnetic.
That's awesome.
And I think it's up to 500 gigabytes a second if you have a card fast enough for that. But for editing-wise, the last thing I want to do is wait for pictures to upload while I try to edit them. So my tool of the trade.
It's a constant, evolution, just getting the workflow as efficient as possible.
Absolutely. And it's not always about having the latest and greatest technology, but like where you can improve, where it's functionally going to affect your workflow, that's where I would invest in.
Yeah, definitely. I wish I could do all my work on an iPad Pro.
You can.
That would be awesome.
We're not there yet.
We'll get there though. I mean, our iPhones are extremely powerful these days, but I just keep it classic, MacBook Pro. it does the job. It's a workhorse. I use it for editing videos, for going through photos, for putting my music together for DJ sets. You know, it's kind of the do-all, tried and true.
You don't need to fix something that's not broken, right? That's the workhorse. Yeah, I'm a PC guy, so like, you know, I don't know if I can ever get into a MacBook, but an iPad I started off, you know, iOS and everyone kind of learns on. So it's gone pretty good. There are still things that frustrate the hell out of me. The Magic Keyboard, a floating keyboard, definitely helps. But we're not there yet in terms of laptop replacement.
We'll get there.
One day. Audio, hardware, watches, one of the most important things I never leave home without. Really doesn't matter if I'm going somewhere tropical or like a winter in Chicago. Clothes, right? So I always pack a leather jacket, and of course, can't be any other color than black. But this is something I found in Japan, probably I think in 2014, maybe earlier. But this is made by Lewis Leathers, and if you know anything about leather jackets, Lewis Leathers was the first company in the world, older than Schott, that put a zipper on a leather good. So this is like the first motorcycle jacket company. This is called the Monza. It's an Avia Kit Monza, and it's made in the 70s. Something about vintage leather, and no surprise, I'm into vintage, you know, fashion, vintage leather goods, but this thing slips on so well. It feels like a second skin. It's already broken in, and it was in such good condition. I found it in the side streets of Shibuya while I'm, you know, looking for watches, and paid quite a pretty penny for it.
This looks great. The wear on here.
Yeah, and you know, Lewis Leathers has this iconic design of this thatchery, this patchwork on the shoulders and on the elbows, and they didn't make them too overly bulky. You know, something like Schott, I love the Perfecto, right? I have 4 or 5 Perfectos in my lineup, but Perfectos you got to definitely break in, and the hide is a lot thicker. I think it's way more structured. You got that kind of Marlon Brando kind of vibe with it, but this is, this is more, I feel like, true cafe racer. I don't like, especially if you're wearing collared shirts or even a t-shirt, I love the minimal collar, right? You don't have a folded collar over it.
Yes.
And what people don't, like as a Star Wars nerd, what people I don't think really realized was Lewis Leathers was commissioned to make Darth Vader's suit. So how badass is that?
That's
to wear
super cool.
something from, you know, the company that designed that iconic
For sure.
suit. But yeah, Avia Kit, my go-to leather jacket. And while I'm on that topic, right, this is something I've obviously been influenced from Japan, is the Sukujan, or quote-unquote souvenir jackets, right? This is from Hysteric Glamour. I have one in kind of like orange as well. But silk, satin, Sukujan jacket, if it's too hot, if it's like, this is perfect in any type of, weather. And it slips on, nothing like slipping into like silk pajamas.
Oh, for sure. And this pops, man. This back, it's awesome.
Yeah, one of my favorite jackets too. So these come as an item. And of course, it's easy to match because everything's
layer 'em
black.
too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very cool.
What do you got?
It's this U.S. Navy N1 deck jacket, which was standard issue for everyone in the Navy after World War II.
Okay. It's standard issue, but at the same time, it's also uncommon, right? Like the fact that you see someone wear this they don't look at it as a uniform. It's a functional use, and it looks dope as hell. I mean, you know, anything from the Army, it's like finding a military watch, right?
Yeah. Not gonna lie, I saw a picture of Paul Newman wearing one, and I just, I had to have it. I'll throw that up there too. You guys can take a look.
That's dope. That's a functional piece, definitely. But one thing I forgot to mention on those leather jackets, right? I often see people picking up leather jackets, and they look dope, and they look dope on the mannequin. They look dope in the ad, but why does it look weird? And I think you told me this early on was, always size down, especially if it's a new Schott or new Lewis Leathers. You size down, it's going to feel uncomfortable as hell.
For sure.
And you're going to be self-conscious. You're like, oh my God, I'm walking like this. I'm uptight. You can stand the jacket, standing up from the floor. But that's a process, right? It's earned, it's broken in. And unless you're buying something vintage from the 70s that's already loosened up over time, it's going to expand by like almost an inch, right?
For sure.
That didn't sound right, but you know what I'm talking about. So with that being said, the other utility that's easy to pack for me is I just picked this up, and it's only because I've been traveling through Asia for many, many years, and it doesn't matter if it's summer, winter, or whatever, it's always sometimes raining. And so I'm always caught without an umbrella. And case in point, that last time in Osaka, we walked out.
Kyoto.
Was it Kyoto?
Yeah.
Okay. We walked out, forgot our umbrellas, and we're like, God, this is really horrible. So my lesson learned is find a poncho, find something that you can roll up into your bag, and this rolls up in
Nice.
relatively short order. And this is North Face Purple Label, which is in collaboration with Namika, which is a Japanese brand. So not your normal North Face stuff. This is also useful because I'm usually carrying a backpack or I have a sling. This will go over everything, so it protect your camera, your bags, etc.
For sure. Now, is that something you found in Japan?
This is something I saw in Japan, did not pick up because I was like, I live in Southern California. When am I ever going to use this? And this is because I was not able to travel. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to find this poncho. I know it's useless
Nice.
for the time being, but eventually you'll see this in future episodes, guys.
For sure.
Don't look for me in this. I'm a chameleon. What else? I think that's mostly, your jewelry, right? You always bring your rings with you.
Yeah, I mean, I got in the habit of wearing them every single day. It's become kind of a ritual.
Where are they from?
They're from the Great Frog, so it's from London. They started off making kind of motorcycle-centric things, and from there they kind of branched off. Each one kind of denotes a different chapter in my life. A lot of them from my girlfriend.
Oh, they're dope.
They have a lot of character, and I
They
enjoy
look better
them.
with time. I mean,
for sure.
once
they
again,
get
metal.
beat up, they get bent from just banging on things, working on motorcycles, using camera gear, whatever it is.
Was that a flex? Working on motorcycles, saving kids from fires.
I've scratched I've scratched plenty of parts on my bike from wearing these things. So I don't always recommend having heavy metal on you, but it's fun. As guys, we don't have many things that we can adorn ourselves with. So it's nice to have a few things, including the watch.
It's just small mementos, right? And with that being said, I've got a few different bracelets that are typically on my wrist. This one is from Wristband on Instagram. They make super, super cool bracelets. This is a gold beaded black and gold. And then this is from Beams Japan. I didn't see any other one like it, but it's a little lightning bolt.
I like that Thunderbolt. That's cool.
And man, this is a recent acquisition. You guys probably saw this on the previous episode, but this is a squash blossom Navajo from the 1940s. And sometimes I'm that guy. I'm that guy that just forgets to wear a watch, but I always love having something vintage on, whether it's a vintage ring, vintage bracelet. But this has been just such a sick piece to have. And this is all silver, and obviously the little turquoise horseshoe. But this is, it's not something I wear every day, but I really enjoy it, and it kind of goes with everything.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's pretty much it. And I don't think there's, obviously we throw whatever else we need that's purpose for the mission, but the constants for us have always been those things. I completely feel naked when I don't have one of those items with me.
For sure. I mean, half of them are essential things for us to do a certain job, right? But the other half are things that make us feel comfortable, that remind us of home, that give us the confidence to walk out that door and take whatever the day has for us.
Yeah, no, I think it's exactly what you said. Sometimes, being out 2-3 weeks, on the road, it's you want those creature comforts with you, and you can't obviously take your bed with you. You can't take your pillows and your animals or whatever. So it's a little small familiar items that just remind you of home, people, or just life.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, guys. Well, that's pretty much it. If you guys kind of like this sort of features, we're happy to do more. I just think this was kind of a cool take on the stuff or the tools that we take with us when we travel.
Yes, in lieu of traveling, this is a great reminder of just being out there.
Sounds good. All right, brother. Thank you so much.
For sure.
We'll catch you guys next week. Take care.